How's everybody doing today? You ready to work in the journal? They're too busy eating the birdseed. Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. Welcome to the second video in this series of making a DIY art journal. I've done a couple of things. I have created a sheet with 9 images of beautiful faces, and we're going to be using these throughout the journal unless you have a collection of images or faces that you would like to use. It's really good to use things that you have already at your disposal, things around you. You can use images from the recycle bin if you have packaging that's beautiful, that has something on it that you want to use. But I did want to provide something that you could print out easily. I've printed mine on white cardstock, and I plan to use this for making this journal unless I get to a page and I have something that something that the universe has sent me and I decide to use that. I've also printed a page of phrases and different words that we can use. Now, this is something that's really interesting, and I love how these serendipitous things happen when you're working on a project like this. I was trying to think, what can we call it? And for some reason, GLAM book came into my mind. And I remember when I was in middle school, our teachers had to ban those because slam books, you really can slam people. You can write bad things about people, and it hurts people's feelings. So I thought, I want it to be a glam book. Like, let's make something more positive and something better. So I looked up the definition of glam book because I thought, well, you know, maybe something has been done with that's going to have a negative connotation that I don't know about. But I came across this acronym GLAM, and it's probably something I should already know and that I don't know or didn't know. But it's an acronym for galleries, libraries, archives, and museums, I think. And I believe it's a movement or an initiative to bring images and information together for the greater good of all people so that everybody has access to things. And I think it's people pooling their resources, or institutions and collections pooling their resources. I want to learn more about that, but I love this. We're going to call it the GLAM book. And you know, you can you can print this page of phrases and words, and you can cut out the one that I've provided on that paper, or you could write this out on your own paper using the colors that you want, or you can call your book something totally different. But we do have the book ready to go, and we want to put an image on the front. I love the color in this. I love all these gold medals on her and how that ties in with the gold. Now, there is some writing there, and it's in a red color. Red is not one of the colors in my color palette, so, you know, I might end up just not including those letters because I want a lot of faces in here. Let's see, but you know, the whole thing is really pretty. And this image came from the Library of Congress. Some libraries and museums online have collections of digital images that you're free to use in personal projects. So I will link all the resources that I used for this. This says the Black Patty, the greatest singer of her race. And I'm thinking, how about the greatest singer of any race? Why does it have to be something like that? And we're gonna do some layers. I want to put something underneath each one of these things to give it, you know, to give it something to stick to a little better. And that's another place where this paper that we've used in the background can come into play. Dry my paintbrush off. Let's get a little bit of pink. Put this here for right now. And you know what? I really am kind of thinking that what I envisioned from the very start was a lot of layers and interest with shapes. So I do think I'm going to go ahead and cut cut it out more like a bust instead of using the square. Yeah, and that's with my colors. I'm trying to think of what ties in. So we've got our pink paint here. So let's get some glue on this. And let's put her right here. Most people probably would have cut the square out first, but ooh, I am liking her. So we're gonna put her right there on the front. Cut it down just a little bit more. And let's go ahead and glue that into place. I'm putting quite a bit of glue on the back because we have these ridges underneath, and I really want it to stick. And just while we're working on the cover, I think I'm gonna clip that down. Let's kind of hold this into place. Maybe we could put a tiny little bit of pink in this corner and include it into her picture a little bit so that it kind of fits in with our color palette. Gonna put a little bit more glue under there. I think this is starting to bond, and we might have to, you know, press it down again more than one time. I actually think I'm going to just lay the scissors there while I'm looking at something else. So for this, I want to go ahead and put this here. You can see where it said Slam Book, and then I put Glam over the top. I want to make sure I have enough cardboard behind this. All right, let's get out a little bit more gold paint. Dry my brush off again. And let's go right around the edge of this. Give it some color. My printer is not a laser printer. It's an inkjet. It's a Hewlett Packard desk jet. So the ink will run if you get it wet. The laser printers, it's more permanent. So I have to be careful about putting water on things, but we may come back and distress this a little bit. I love the gold around the edges. You might notice that I've got this sort of a canvas or heavy cotton fabric behind what I'm doing. I don't mind if things like paint or ink get on it either, because it's going to make some really neat journal covers down the road. And let's go ahead and get this into place. I'm going to put a little bit of glue down in these ridges. And then we're going to put quite a bit across here. So this is where we're putting the title of our book on the front. We've got our image on the front. And let's go ahead and put all these things together. We're working on this while it's a little bit wet, and that can be tricky, but it can also add to the book. I mean, things have a way of moving around and shifting around, and paint spots get on things. So I'm moderately careful. I don't mind having a little bit of a mess, or, you know, happy accidents, I guess. Who used to say that? Bob Ross, is that his name? Jason and I watched sort of a documentary about him not too long ago. I can't remember if Jason found it on YouTube or if we saw it on one of the like movie networks or whatever. Now you can take a break and let this dry, or if you have a hairdryer or something like I do, I use that to speed up the process. You can do that. Okay, it's pretty dry at this point, dry enough that I can do something that I want to do here. So here's where we start throwing in different options. You can leave it like this. You can put a frame around, which is one of the things I want to do because we want this to be really layered. This is another reason I love keeping paper behind whatever I'm working on. This is from a sheet of paper that was behind things I worked on previously. So I'm going to just cut 4 strips of fabric to make paper, hello, to make a frame. And we're going to put that, we're going to glue it right around the edge. And we're okay if things aren't completely flat. This doesn't have to be completely flat. Even though I have a color palette, you'll notice there's a tiny bit of green on this, and that's okay with me. I'm not going to be using green on purpose, but I am okay with that just coming in from a different project. Of course, I could turn it around too, and you know, now that I've turned it over, I think I might like that better. But this is where we start talking about all the different options. So now that I've got these cut and torn down to the right size, let's go ahead and glue these into place. This does not have to be perfect. We're going to give her a frame. And I love that she's kind of standing up off the page. I'm really glad that we decided to cut her out from the picture that she was in, because it makes her feel like she's just, you know, going to come to life there. So let's give her a really pretty frame, scrappy as it is. I'm going to take this clip off because I do want to show you something that I'm thinking about. And you will notice in the supply list, I'm going to go through and make sure all these pages will open up okay. We've added a lot of paint to this over the last couple of days, and it's good to just flip through the pages to keep everything loose. So it's one reason that brads were on the list, but that they were optional. You could stop here and you could leave it like it is. You could add glitter to this. You could add the little rhinestone stickers to this. You could take a pen or a marker, a paintbrush, and use the colors in your color palette and add some color to the frame. You could write on the frame. If there's something you want to say about your book, you could go ahead and say that all around here. I do have something that I'm going to say, but first, as Julie Chen would say on Big Brother, but first, I'm going to add some brads to mine. And I'm just going to poke a hole right through here. And it's one of the reasons I love the way this all is kind of wide, is that it does allow me to make, kind of holes on a slant or whatever that these brads will go through. So I'm just going to put one at each corner. I started to go with my brass brads. Brass brads, that's funny. But then I thought, no, I'm going to use these white ones because I love that they're all, you know, they're all the same color, and they are, the little pieces on the back are kind of short. Let me just do this. And I just do like that pop of white on the front. We're going to be covering this up, so no worries there. And you can tell that's still wet. I'm moving it around a little bit, not on purpose. But it's going to dry because we're almost done with this part of the book, and it's going to have time to sit and dry before we work on it again, unless you decide that you want to just keep going to the next video, in which case you can dry things up a little bit with a dryer, or take a break, go get something to drink, go clean your house. I just went and loaded my dishwasher, which is why I'm kind of joking about that. I do think I want some pink next to the gold up here, and maybe even on the cardboard. Let's just add all sorts of color. Now, seriously, I'm going to be honest about this thing. It's standing up quite a bit. I don't want to get my hands into all that paint. Let's just lay this down and press really good. We may have to add some more glue at some point or when it dries. You know, I just took some of the paint off. We can come back and add more paint. I love, love, love her. And one of the messages that I had decided I wanted to write on the front of mine is only good things. Only good things. Let's put an exclamation point there. Now my frame is a little bit, it's got a little bit of a ripple in it there. And I am totally fine with that. We can push it up a little bit there so that the ripple's more up here. So that's that. The next thing we're gonna do, and this might seem a little bit crazy, but we are gonna go ahead and do this. Let me get out my white gel pen because I do have some black paper in mine. We're gonna go through and we're gonna make some scribbles on every page so that they're there ahead of us just waiting. And you can do anything you want to. You can make a lot of scribbles or just a few. Ooh, I might just do a little down here in the corner. You know, this reminds me of one of my sons, John. He wanted to write in cursive so badly when he was young. He was about 3, and he would get a pad of paper out and he would just, I'll show you what he would do. He would put his little head down and he would go like this, thinking that he was writing in cursive. Of course he wasn't. But just scribble. You know what? If you don't want to scribble on every page, just pick some pages, because this is kind of a lot of pages to scribble on. And I'm not going to make you watch while I scribble on every single page. But if you have some anger you want to scribble out, like if somebody made you mad, just tell them, I did not like that at all. Or if somebody made you really happy, like lightly, thank you so much for adding that to my life today. Okay, that's probably enough scribbling. I do need a new white gel pen. You can see that this one's getting a little bit, it's a little weak, but it's okay. All right, that is all for today's work. That's all for today. We've got a really good start here. I'm loving this. We're going to keep working on all these pages. We may even come back to the front and do some more, but I think it needs to rest and dry right now. I'm going to actually spread these pages apart a little bit and just let mine stand up like that. I will be back really soon. Bye for now.